build a smart plan together, do just a little bit of prep work ahead of time for that. And so in a lot of classes, we kind of overview smart plans and show you the library and show you what you can do and give you some advice, but we usually don't, actually put the content in there. And a lot of times we don't do that for several reasons, time reasons, and then you actually have to think of the content to do that. So we've got the content ready. If there is anyone wanting to add content, it is a very much an open forum. And again, just give you guys some ideas of what you can use smart plans for. So I love smart plans, and I think a lot of people they don't fully understand smart plans. So smart plans can be many things, obviously a system of long-term follow-up, tasks set in motion, emails to go out, texts to go out, reminders to call people. But remember, smart plans can also be things like templates. We're not going to cover those today, but every time you put a buyer under contract, is there a repetitive email that you send out letting them know what's next, letting them know what they should be doing, shouldn't be doing? Because if so, create it as a one-step smart plan. And then every time you put a buyer under contract, all you got to do is add them to that smart plan. It will send the email, and you won't have to worry about reminding them again. So if you find yourself emailing repetitive emails over and over again, just create it as a one-step smart plan and label it accordingly, and then just add them to the smart plan. Dan, you got your hand up?
Yeah, isn't there something already built in Command that you could use the same thing for?
Yeah, so those would be your buyer guides. One issue with the buyer guides are they need to have your app, and they need to be signed in on your app. And so the buyer guides are going to be more ideal if we're in a perfect world. They're signed in on the app, and we can move them along in the guide, kind of like, hey guys, the lenders send out a lot of automated emails. Say, hey, you just went into underwriting. Here's what underwriting means, and here's what's next for you. The buyer guide is a similar thing to that. We got to get the buyers on the app. We got to customize the guide and then send them through. So yeah, ideally I'm using those for sure. But I know we also find ourselves just repetitively saying the same things over and over again. So just think of it as a form of a template as well, okay? And then think about, what could we possibly need smart plans for? Staying top of mind with sphere of influence, staying in contact with past clients, open house. That's going to be what we'll talk a little bit about today. For sale by owner, under contract, a wrong phone number. We can go pretty deep into all the kind of different areas, but don't challenge yourself that much. If we don't have the main 2-3 lead gen smart plans and sphere of influence smart plans, then let's focus on those first. Okay. So the first thing that we are going to do, we're going to jump into creating a smart plan and just make sure we all know what content we can put in it. And then we're actually going to jump into designs, and we're going to take our time in just creating a real quick design email template, because we're going to use that design email template in a smart plan. And there's a few little shortcuts inside of designs I want to make sure you guys are aware of. Okay. So in the beginning right here, we're just going to name the smart plan. And this is going to be the quickest we do anything today, okay? After we give you this real quick overview of this right side, we're going to slow down a lot, okay? So the first one being create a task. Very obvious what a created task is. It's going to show up in our system on the correct day and prompt us to do something. And so right here where it says task type, touch and non-touch, the difference there doesn't really affect you as much, but what it will affect is just some recording on the timelines. For example, a touch is, a call, a text, an email. And so when you're tracking touches with contacts, that's the only time this really comes into play. I don't pay too much attention to that at all. Make a call, really, really obvious what that is. Send an email. When we send emails, we have simple and we have designs. Simple is text only. We can have links inside of it. We can use merge fields. So an example of merge fields, hi, contact first name, comma, and your email signature. You guys are getting the idea. Again, if you are somebody that wants to start publishing some smart plans, publishing meaning sharing them to the library for anyone to use, when you create simple emails or design emails, you want to put as little branding to yourself in them as possible. Otherwise, when people borrow them from you and they forget to edit, they're using kind of your phone number, which I guess doesn't matter to you. The flip side of that is if you're downloading smart plans from the library, make sure that you are removing agents' information and putting your own information in there. When it comes to designs and we select the design, we have a bunch of templates from International in here. My favorite one that we're going to touch on real quick today is the classic newsletter A. And just know we are having issues with preview right this second. When we hit edit, we'll see the full template. But the reason I love that is it's got a big title, a big text block, and some good agent branding below it. And in the exercise, we're going to drag an image in. I'm going to show you how to make the image the same size as the text. My design templates will be anything you have created inside of designs, like we're going to create in just a minute. And anytime you create designs, save them with an according name, because you can search by that name, okay? Because there's a lot, you'll end up with a lot of templates in there eventually. Send text message, again, pretty obvious what that is. The difference between static and dynamic. Static, when I type in the text, it will send exactly what I say inside of the text. Dynamic, I will enter 3, 4, 5 text messages, and the system will pick which one of the 4 or 5 it's going to send out at that time. I'm not a huge fan of dynamic text messages. I would prefer to just tell the system what to say and when to say it versus what to say and you pick when you say it. But there's times where people will use dynamic. Setting of a delay, that's basically just staggering the time in between your touches. So if I want to email someone today and I want to email someone Thursday, that's going to be a 2-day delay. A 1-day delay gets us to tomorrow. Okay, and you can always track what day it is right here on the right side. Add to smart plan, that's going to trigger an additional smart plan to launch. We'll be doing that when we create our smart plan as well. And then restart smart plan, it sends it all the way up to the top. So the most basic smart plan we have in the system is the quarterly call plan. It will prompt you to call someone. It will have a delay of 90 days, and then it will restart the smart plan all the way back to the top saying, hey, time to call them again, wait 90 days and restart it. So I use Restart Smart Plan for a few things. One of the smart plans I have is a Sphere of Influence Touch campaign. And in that, I remind them of things like my vendors, Keller Mortgage. I remind them of reasons they would want to contact me. I may ask them for a referral. And it's really about 7 emails with, I think, like 35 days in between, something like that. And then I just repeat it unlimited. So they'll get a touch from me, every 35, 55 days. I don't remember which one it is. And it will just keep cycling through those emails. So the restart plan can be unlimited, or maybe it's just something you want to remind them of twice and then it ends, okay? Any questions on the features on the right side? Jump off mute if there are. And just remember, we do have rules on smart plans. I don't love these rules. Just know these rules come from attorneys to keep us protected from harassing people, as they would like to call it. Just know there's workarounds for these rules, and I explain them sometimes, and I'm actually going to show you what that workaround is. And so we can only communicate with someone so many times per so many days. However, if we want to communicate more heavily than that, we can actually create 2 smart plans and link the 2 of them together, and we will do that today, okay? And outside of that, we are now going to real quick jump into designs, because when we clicked send email, you saw that there was an option for plain text and then an option for designs as well. And so we are going to jump in to create a design and select email. Now you can create a blank template, and I do create blank templates. I would really encourage you guys to find one template in KWRI's system and always use that template, okay? Because they have extra powers than what we do, okay? So they're able to create invisible text box lines that stop text from going too wide or going too thin, things like that. And in my opinion, the best one to kind of manipulate is this classic newsletter A. So I'm going to select that. And you're going to see when I hit the little preview button, that we have a title, we have a text box, we have a button, an action button, and we have a branded footer, okay? So it's not an overly complex template, but what we can do, we can edit this template. So Market Center logo, you can center it, and I always just reduce this way down. But honestly, what I typically do, I just delete it. They don't need our Market Center logo right there. Our Market Center logo is going to be down here. We're going to have some extra agent branding just there. Put your logo there. Put your branding there, okay? Maybe you have kind of a header that you like to use. Again, people aren't going to do business with you because of Atlanta partners. They're going to do business with you because of you, okay? Now, in this example, I'm just grabbing some text and we're going to edit it real quick. I don't remember what I said my title was going to be. So this one's a $15,000 over list price, okay? And of course, we can edit all this information, change color. If I want a bigger gap between my text and this red line, for example, just come right here and send it down one. If you're wanting to add spacing, grab a text box and add the spacing where you want to create more space. And then just remove the text from it, and no one will ever know that there is a text box there, okay? One day soon, we're going to get a lot more permissions like creators at International have. You can see when I move around, you see all these blue boxes and things that are appearing. There's boxes inside of boxes. We don't really have those capabilities yet. However, I'm going to edit this text real quick with something that I created earlier. One of the reasons why sometimes we don't go in as much depth for a smart plan is because you guys don't want to watch me typing. So we've created the text right there. We're not going to spell check it for now. I'm going to hit done. And you guys can see that my text has now obviously updated. Just remember, when we edit text, okay, you can hit this little edit pencil or you can double click. The most important thing to remember is you finish editing one box before you move on to editing the next box. Okay, I see a lot of people editing here, typing, and then they go double click on the next box. It usually doesn't create problems, but it can get confused sometimes. So finishing the edit is clicking the done button just here, okay? Now, the next thing I want to do, I want to bring in an image, okay? And to do that, we have our image button just here. And we can drop this image button wherever we want it. If we're seeing the green line, that's where it's going to drop, okay? And I would say the number one question I get about images in Smartplans is just the formatting and the sizing of it. So right here, so I'm clicking and I'm holding my mouse right now. And if you see where I'm about to drop this green line right here, if you see that it's skinnier, this one right here is a little wider. I'm actually going to drop this image into the text box, okay? And then whatever I size the image to, the text is going to size along with it. So if I make the image really wide, the text box will go wider with it. If I make the image skinnier, the text box will get skinnier and longer. So let me real quick just add the image that I made earlier. And so you can see right here, we've kind of aligned, you know, the image is aligning with the text. If I hit a little preview, so you can zoom out, I'll zoom out a little. You guys can get a feel for the sizing. And not everybody cares about that, but a lot of people do care about the neatness of it. And so dropping an image inside of a text box that's already created has been one of my #1 ways of keeping it, you know, looking pretty clean. I would say it looks like a, you know, a fairly clean looking email template. This right here was just a social just sold graphic from Inside Designs. I put a little sticker over it. The sticker for some reason says 50% off, but obviously we can customize anything. So we changed 50% off to kind of the opposite of $15,000 over list price. And as we just continue on, a couple of other features to show you guys from inside of this view before we start piecing together that smart plan. When I edit this image, the first thing I can do, let me zoom back in, I can change the width of this image. So maybe I make it a 575 by 575, hit done. You'll see I just shrunk the image a little bit and the text shrunk along with it. If I edit the image again, right here we have the option of linking to something, okay? And as it stands right now, when I don't link the image to anything, when someone's on their computer or their phone and they click the image, it will load a bigger version of that image, okay? However, if I click link to web address, and then say I went and grabbed my listing on my website, and then I paste the website web address just here, when that person then clicks on the image, instead of it loading a bigger image, they will get sent to the link that is attached to that image, okay? Now just remember, your websites only display active and pending sales. They don't display sold sales, okay? So you obviously have a little bit of time and that link will expire for a sold listing. Any questions on just kind of piecing some of that together? This is the call to action button. Click view home. Again, link to web address. Paste the URL of the home right here. And by URL, we're talking about you click on that listing on your website, and this is your URL right here. Oh, I think my computer froze. There we go. Let me try that again. There we go, view home. Right down here, you can edit this box, okay? There's no little asterisks around it, so it's not a merge field. You can edit this to say whatever you like. That's probably the #1 question I get about my newsletter is, can we edit, you know, this part right here? That's kind of where I put the call to action. You don't want to edit any of this information where you see the little asterisks and merge fields, okay? The other thing that I really encourage you guys to think of is, how can I get more videos into my smart plans? And obviously one struggle there is we want the smart plans to be semi-customized and specific for the person, but it's also hard to make a video for every single specific person. So if we're making a smart plan regarding open houses, and one of our first couple of steps of the smart plan is a video of us just saying, hey guys, Thanks again for coming through my open house. It was such a pleasure to meet you. I can't wait to do this for you and this for you and this for you. Well, as long as I'm not trying to mention them by name, and maybe I don't even say, hey guys, I just say, hey. So grateful I got to meet you at the open house. That's a generic video that I can use in my smart plan because I'm not calling them by name. I'm not referring to one or two people. I'm not referring to the house that I had the open house in. And people love videos, okay? And so our goal is how to get a video into that open house follow-up fairly early on. And for me, it'll just be a real quick thank you. Can't wait to continue connecting with you over the next couple of weeks. I'm here for you. Reach out to me for these reasons. And obviously we'll grab a video widget to do that. And just remember, when we grab a video widget and we edit that widget, we will go grab the URL from somewhere, okay? And so, YouTube's the easiest place to do that. Record your video, upload it to YouTube, go to YouTube and grab the video, the URL of the video, and paste it there. And then when they open your email and they click play, it will open a YouTube box on the screen. It takes about kind of 2/3 of the screen. It'll open it as a YouTube box and your video will pop up and start playing, okay? In the smart plan we do today, we're not going to have video because obviously our goal is to not make it custom to one person. However, putting in the video widget, we're creating an email template right this second. So when we click send email and we click the designs option, we're selecting anything that we create from within this screen. And so getting videos into your email is very easy to do. And don't be afraid to get on video. They want to see the real you, and it doesn't need to be, a real professional show. Good video and noise quality will be perfect. There we go. I'm just going to save and exit from there, okay? So you guys saw, I didn't want to just completely recreate the wheel by going create design, social, give me a blank template and I'll start, or email, and I'll start from a blank template, because you can definitely do that. But right here, you select one or two that you think I can kind of manipulate these to do whatever I want it to do. And for me, the classic newsletter A is exactly that, okay? The newsletter B has 3 or 4 content blocks on it, 3, I believe, and so you're going to be removing things. The classic newsletter A and adding an image or adding a video to it, I can see us sending out a lot of emails from just that one template alone, okay? And next month, I'm going to have a class called Smartplans versus email campaigns, where we're going to be breaking down the difference between the two, because we have a lot of email analytics inside of campaigns now. And so we're probably going to shift from Smartplans to email campaigns when we're sending more of our one-off emails. However, when we create an email design, it's the exact same design whether we put it into a smart plan or whether we just put it into a regular email campaign, okay? So watch for some of those videos. We are now going to jump into smart plans, okay? I wanted to give you guys an overview of the steps, an overview of how you create an email design, because we're going to be pulling in a couple that I've already designed, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to create the smart plan. The only time someone will see the name of your smart plan name is if you share it into the library. And now we're just going to start. So my goal is to always start a smart plan with an email. And the reason why I start a smart plan with an email is because it will trigger that smart plan and launch immediately. There are some rules behind text messages. Text messages only get sent out between certain hours in the day. I believe that is 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. currently. They've changed minorly throughout the last few months. And so if I add someone to a smart plan at 8:30 p.m., it would wait until the following morning to launch it if my first step was a text message. It doesn't care what time you send emails. So that's why I say if we start with an email, we know that the smart plan is launching right away, okay? And so to get it out there, we're just simply going to click send email. And for this one, we're going to stick with a simple design, okay? Right here under the rules, where it says, we can touch someone 7 times in 7 days, 12 times in 30 days. One thing that it doesn't tell you is you can only have 5 design emails within one smart plan. It's probably my biggest pet peeve there is, because I love design templates. And you can only have a maximum of 5 of them in there. So you have to kind of get creative with them. I don't think that is an intended feature. However, that is the limit right this second. So in this one, my subject line, thanks. Thanks for stopping by my open house. And just know, guys, this smart plan, I'm not going to have huge delays in between them. Some of you guys may think, well, you need to back off a little bit. You're being way too aggressive here, okay? If that's the case, if you want to pull in this smart plan after we're finished with it, you just come in here and you'll extend the number of delays in between. But my thought process around open houses is, they came into my open house this weekend, and I've got 2 to 3 weeks to really, really try to capture and convert them and get top of mind with them. And then after a few weeks, they might start forgetting who I am. And so even if they're 6 months out, my first 2 to 3 weeks of follow-up is a lot more heavy and intense. And then I do scale back and back off a little bit. But if they came through my open house last weekend and I communicate with them today, and then I wait 3 weeks to communicate again and wait 3 weeks to communicate again, they may have gone through 4, 5, 6 open houses since I've tried to communicate with them twice. And now they're getting all their agents mixed up with who was who. So again, we got a 2-week window to really try to not necessarily convert them, but capture top of mind with them, okay? And so we're going to say hi. We will pull in the contact first name just here. Give it a little comma. Then I'm going to paste in some text. So again, if anyone has something specific that they're wanting to do here, jump off mute, tell us what you'd like to say, and we can certainly cover that, okay? So again, super basic right here. I'm going to finish, with my name, my app link, and I'm good with that for now. Next thing that we're going to do, so you can click the save if you want to. Anytime you can save something, it's always great to do it. You never know when something funny might happen or we lose power. I also want to real quick send a text message as well, okay? And so for smart plans to launch text messages, you will have to go into your settings and subscribe to Twilio. You sign up, you can request a local number and they'll flip that local number for you. And then you'll buy a subscription. The subscription is very cheap. You basically just load some credits into the system, and different things cost different amounts. For example, a regular text is a credit. If you're wanting to send a text with an image in it, I believe it's 2 credits, and so on and so on. And so if you don't want to use that kind of thing, then instead of creating a task as send a text message, instead of adding a step as send a text message, you'll want to create it as a task. And when you create it as a task, put into the system or into the notes what you want to say in that text message, because you can then text through your computer, set up Reach, set up Hit 'em Up. There's some other, Mighty Text as an add-on to your computer, for example. So get familiar with them. Remember, if you are planning on using Twilio, don't let the first text message someone receives from you be from a Smartplan, because it's going to come from a different number than they're used to hearing from you on. And they may not know who it is. And it does come with an opt-out option in that first text message per laws, okay? And so if you are going to start using Twilio, I've got my sphere of influence ready. I'm going to send a mass text to all of my sphere of influence saying, hey guys, it's Stuart. This is my business texting number. If you receive a text message from me on it, I promise you it's me. I'm just working more efficiently from my computer now. If it's a random person that came through my open house, it doesn't matter what number they received the text from, because they didn't know my number in the first place, okay? So in this example of sending a text, I'm going to paste in my merge fields and all the text I've already created here. We have our merge fields over here on the right this time. Make sure we are clicking in the correct place for it. And just know when you copied and paste, like I did, obviously the merge fields don't actually paste along with it. So you can see how I'm just going to remove those merge fields and just put them in. If you don't plan on sharing your Smartplan, then you don't have to necessarily worry about your your own merge fields. You just want to worry about the contact merge fields, okay? And obviously for anybody that is Augusta partners that's on the call today, thank you for being here. But you would have, this is an example of when you would want to come in and edit something that a Smartplan says when you pull it in from the library, okay? So I'm happy with that text message. The next thing that I want to do is I want to set a delay. So when I set a delay, it'll ask me, how many days would you like this delay to be? Now, my next step is to send an email. And you guys can see right up here in the top corner, it says what day the Smartplan is on. And so right now we're sending an email on day 1, and we are sending a text message on day 1 as well. If you guys don't love 2 communications in the same day, well, guess what? We can set a delay in between the 2. You just add a delay and you would just simply move it up. But actually, let me drag one in there. Sorry guys, I got a little distracted just there. I actually don't think it did drag me in there. I must have double clicked when I added set the delay. So you guys can see 2-day delay gets me to day 3. A 1-day delay gets me to day 2. So 1-day delay to the next day, okay? Again, if you guys got something to add when it comes to content right here, jump off mute and add it. If there's a little email or a text message or a one-liner that you love to send people that you know gets good responses, share it with somebody else. We all work different databases. But we have added a 2-day delay just here. And then we're going to send out an email again. So I'm going to select the design, because this time we are going to go with a HTML design email. And I'm going to go over here to my design templates. Everything I've either edited and saved or created from scratch will be right here. And in this one, I want to tell them all about my app and why they should use it. So anytime you add an HTML email, it's always going to send you into the edit screen so that you can edit it change anything you like. You guys just watch me edit one of these emails and you'll see we look the exact same on the right side. So I am very happy to save and continue that. Now, one thing I forgot so far is, we're about to be on day 3, 4, 5 here, and I haven't actually picked up the phone yet, which is a little bit of a problem because the phone is where we do convert everybody, okay? So I'm going to come over here, make a call. I'm just going to move it up a couple times, okay? I'm going to move it down. One of the rules are 2 touches per day. So I can't email, text, and call in the same day unless I figure out a couple of workarounds for that, which are possible. We're not really going to cover the touch workarounds for 3 in 1 day today. Those are a little more complex, but you can see we're going to email and text on day 1, and then I'm going to make a phone call on day 3. And right here where it says task name, my recommendation is, obviously it's a call, but right here you go here and you add contact first name, last name, and phone number. The reason why, when you are working through your tasks that day, you don't have to click into that person's contact card to grab their phone number. It will tell you their phone number right then and there where the task is. If you've got Kelly on your phone and you're receiving your daily tasks, it will pop up right there is the name of the task as well, okay? Under description, maybe you're prompting yourself to ask them something specific. There's a little script that you want to paste right there. That is your ideal spot to do it. Okay, we're going to set another delay right here, guys. This time we're going to go up to day 3. I'm going to bump that one up to day 3 as well. The next step that we are going to have, we are going to send another email. Okay. And in this one, we are going to stick with a simple design, or a simple email, sorry. And then we will start typing in our email. So this is one of those where it's a, there's a few emails out there that are, hey, I'm not trying to be a pest, or, did I drop the ball because I haven't heard back from you yet? If so, I'm so sorry. Just kind of gets people to have just a real quick response of saying, no, it's okay. It's, me that's been busy, not you that's been busy. So it's, I hope I'm not being a pest. I want to make sure you're taken care of and that you've got a responsive agent here for you. Let me know how I can help. And obviously, we'll put I have a contact information in there, name in there. I'm keeping this one a little more generic because I am going to be sharing this into the library for everybody. If this were one I wasn't sharing, I would be typing my phone number right here. So anyone planning on using this plan, pull it in and just add your phone number in a few spots would be my advice. Okay, what do we have coming up next? We're going to go ahead and set another delay. As you guys can see, I'm kind of looking left because I've got my smart plan already created on my left side of my screen. If I pull it over for you guys, I always tell people when it comes to creating a smart plan, don't try and create that smart plan from scratch inside of Smartplan. Okay? Open up a Word document, open up a Google Drive, and play around with it. Type out what you want to say in certain emails, kind of review it, make sure the order flows a little, and if not, rearrange them. But this is kind of your brainstorming or your brain dump page right here. Get your content in and then put it into the smart plans, okay? So we just had the hope I am not being a pest email. The next step we're going to do, we're going to make a call again, and calling them, adding in their names and their phone numbers. And then in this one, how well do we know this contact? Because we could possibly ask them for their current address, because if they're current homeowners, or we could set them up on a monthly neighborhood nurture. And if they don't have a home to sell, well, maybe we just say, hey, we only talked for a couple minutes in the open house. This was the rough criteria you gave me. Anything else you want to add to that criteria? I don't want to miss any homes that could be a great fit for you. You guys are getting the idea just there. So now we're on day 10. So these are the communications we've had so far with our potential clients, okay? The next thing I want to do, I'm going to send another email. I'm going to jump into designs this time. And this time, I want to send them some information about Keller Mortgage, the money savings, and the potential to keep more money in their pockets. So this is the email that I created right here. I actually did not take my advice that I showed you guys earlier when it was putting the picture inside of the text cell to make sure they line up perfectly. In this instance, they line up fairly well. So I am good with it. I'm going to save and exit. And again, step 11, day 12, we're sending them a real quick email. Now, right here, I want to go ahead and utilize one of these other features, and that is add to a smart plan, because there's nothing worse than us communicating, and then forgetting about someone and dropping the ball and then them buying a home with somebody else. So I'm going to add them to I'm going to search the smart plan. I'm going to add them to the quarterly call plan. That way I know for a fact that they are definitely going to hear from me at least 4 times this year, because the quarterly call plan sets a task for a call, it waits 90 days, and then it repeats that exact same first step over and over and over again. So 4 phone touches per year is what we get from the quarterly call plan. Let's see, what are we going to do next? So we've sent an email. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to set a couple more days worth of delays. Then we're going to make a call. Again, just remember, all this automation through emails, through text messages, they don't mean anything if we aren't picking up the phone at the same time, okay? All these emails and texts, they really complement and compound our phone calls. We're hitting them from all angles. Just texts and emails alone, guys, they may convert the odd person, but overall your conversion ratios are going to be very low, okay? So we just sent out an email about saving money. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I know that you said you'd already done a little bit of shopping for your loan. I mentioned it in the open house. I really do want to make sure that I save you guys as much money as possible. I sent you an email yesterday about Keller Mortgage. Did you get a chance to think about that and to think whether you wanted to save an extra few $1,000s on your next home purchase or not? So again, we're not really selling them anything on there. We're offering a legitimate service that can save them thousands and thousands of dollars. The other agents that are calling them, they're saying, hey, I'd love to meet with you. When can we meet? When can we show homes? We're going to do those kind of things too. That, hey, I've got a tool that can save you thousands of dollars. There's not a ton of other agents that are going to be offering that same service. But don't let this be the first time they hear about it. What branding, marketing, and takeaways are they going to get from us at the open house? To remind them when we make this phone call and send that email, hey, I gave you information about Keller Mortgage then, and I'm giving it to you again now. We're going to set a little delay right here. Now on day 15, I'm going to create a task. And so in this instant, we met them at an open house, okay? So a real easy step is invite them to your next open house. And if we say, well, I don't have another open house, well, let's connect with some listing agents in our office and let's figure out how can I host 1, 2, 3 open houses per week, because I need to grow my database and meet more people face to face. So, hey, I really enjoyed meeting you at our open house, the past Saturday. I've actually got another open house coming up on Sunday at 2 to 3 o'clock. I'd love to invite you guys to it. Love to see you again. I know you're not quite ready to buy yet, but if we see a few homes together now, you can point out things you like and don't like. Then when you're ready, I've got a great clear picture of the home you're looking for, and we'll be able to find it a lot faster together. How does that sound? Again, guys, just all about having a few small little scripts. When I used to call, I had a little script wall up above my computer in front of me. And the goal is we don't sound like a robot when we read. We've used that script multiple times and it just feels natural to us. If it doesn't feel natural, change what the words say to make it sound like you, okay? You guys getting the idea as we are building this. Again, jump off mute if you guys have questions. I told you we were going to spend a lot more time in this section of Smartplans than we probably ever spent before. And hopefully it is of benefit to you guys. We're going to set another 1-day delay, and I'm going to send an email right here. This one is the do's and don'ts of home buying. If I go into my designs and I select my design, I have a do's and don'ts email in here. See right here, I just grabbed a little graphic. So if we preview this, grabbed a little graphic offline. If you guys are enjoying these graphics, or you'd like these graphics, but you maybe don't like my smart plan, that's perfectly okay, because when you download this smart plan from the library, all of these email designs will actually copy into your design library. So you don't love what this email says, but you're like, can I get that graphic from you? Just know I'm putting that graphic in the Google Drive for you to use, but you can download that smart plan. This one email template will then be in your designs. You could go into designs and you could edit my text, keep the image in there, save it with a new name, and you've got a email template ready to add to the smart plan that you create for yourself. Any questions on what we've done so far, guys? Okay, so we're about to get a little more complicated right here, okay? And I promise it's not as complicated as it sounds. So we're going to pretend, and it's possible that we just did it, I'm not sure. We're going to pretend that we just hit our touch limit per number of days. And what I said was earlier, we got our touches in Smart Plan 1. We can actually then go create Smart Plan 2. And once we've created Smart Plan 2, we can jump back into Smart Plan 1. And we can use this little feature right here that says add to a Smart Plan. And the last step of Smartplan 1 is to add them to Smartplan 2. That way, when we add contacts to a Smartplan, we don't add them to Open House 1 and 2. We just add them to Open House Smartplan number 1, because the system itself will transfer them to the second part of that Smartplan. And it will make a lot more sense in just a second after we work through this together. We just got to make sure that we have all of our fields selected. Guys can see it gives us some errors. Didn't put these subject lines into our emails. Perfect. So we just saved it right then. Had we exceeded our touch limit, it would have come up with a nice little red banner again saying exceeded touch limit. Okay. Now, before we build that Smartplan part 2, which is only going to be like 2 emails, I just want to show you guys real quick, add trigger event. And so a little bit of automation right here. When we add this trigger event, we can match a tag to this Smartplan. So in this example, this is an Open House Smartplan. So I'll connect the Open House tag to it, and I'll choose that as the trigger. So now anytime I add a contact or anytime I add a contact or add this tag to the contact, it will automatically start launching this Smartplan. So we have this trigger attached to the Smartplan. I hosted my open house last weekend. I'm entering people in the database, and I'm simply adding them as an open house tag, and it will launch this follow-up campaign for us, okay? So again, I'm gonna save that there. Jump off mute if you guys have questions. Now, so right here, you can see we have our open house follow-up take 2. That should really say take 2 part 1. I'm going to create another one. It says open house. Take 2 part 2. And we will be in it real quick, and I'm only going to do 2 emails in here, guys, I promise. Okay, in fact, the first one, we're going to make a call. It's very easy to get in the rhythm of building these smart plans and not actually putting any touches or tasks for us to pick up the phone in it. We set a couple of days delay. We are going to send an email now. Going to select a design. Let's see, which one did I create to put in here? I think it was working with me as a buyer. So again, we can edit any of this information just here. We're going to roll with what it says so far. Going to go 2 more delays, and we're just real quick going to remind them again about Keller Mortgage. Go to My Templates. We'll use this one this time. Just know I grabbed all these graphics from portal.kellermortgage.com. And we're going to end it right there with this Smartplan, okay? I'm going to save it. Again, we got to enter our subject line. course, the only string being attached is that you have to work with us to get the discount. We're going to save that there. Going to jump back into our smart plans, and now I have open house follow-up part 1, and I have part 2, or pat 2 as it would say there. Now I'm going to jump back into part 1. I'm going to come all the way down the bottom right here, guys. I'm going to add to a smart plan. And here is my part 2. So we created part 1. We created part 2. We logged back into part 1 and said on day 17, go ahead and launch part 2. Do we have any questions on that? We've alluded to part 1 and part 2 in plenty of classes before, and I can always look at the camera and see the odd confused look from somebody that doesn't have any questions. Okay, I promise you, if you have the question, others do as well, so don't be afraid to ask the question. I think it makes sense, right? Create part 1, create part 2, and then link at the end of part 1 to start, add to part 2. And again, the reason we're doing this is these rules right down here. We can only communicate with them so many times. Again, 15 max in one smart plan, which seems kind of silly to me. If I want to build a year-long smart plan, my advice would be just to create Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, part 1 through 4, and then link them together. Okay. Any questions on so far on what we did? Does anybody have any kind of magic scripts, emails, anything like that that they typically send out in smart plans? So what I'm going to do, we're going to jump back in here and we are going to finish part 2 because I've got 2 more emails that I wanted to add to it. And then I'm actually going to publish this into the library. And you guys will be able to pull it into your systems. Right now, we're about to just text them. This may be one that, depending on what their time frame is, maybe we move this one a little earlier as well. Just checking in to see how you're doing. You have time for a quick phone call. When can we start planning the home search? And then the last email that I have created. Buyer tips in a competitive market. So just a little graphic that we grabbed from Keeping Current Matters. There we go. We are going to save that just there. We're going to jump back into Smart Plans. And from right here, part 1, I'm going to publish it into the library. And you can see we're about to publish all of these. It's just going to publish part 2 because it's part of part 1. We're going to publish that. And then I know we're running 2 minutes late, guys. That's going to be there in the library. Let me flip accounts real quick. And we're going to spend 2 minutes pulling that in from the library into your account. Okay, so let me show you guys right here. Designs, email. I don't have any of those designs in there already. And of course, I haven't actually checked this in a couple of weeks to make sure it still works. I don't see why it wouldn't. But remember I said earlier, when you pull in my Smartplans, you're going to pull in those graphics that are attached to it into your design library. So you're going to go over here into library, switch Smartplan name to my name, type it in. On the right side, we can go a newest plan. And right there, it already is into the library. You could be the first person to download it right now. And if I hit add, right now I'm part 1, I'm going to add this smart plan, and it's going to tell me this smart plan that you're wanting to download actually has 2 other smart plans within it. One is the quarterly call plan. It says success because I already have it in my system, but I don't have the part 2 in my system. So I need to download that one real quick. And now I'm going to download the main one. If I flip over from the library to my own smart plans, I now have Open House Part 1, Open House Part 2. And I can come over here and remember, we only want to add them to Part 1 because the smart plan itself will kick them onto the Part 2. So there's a couple of ways to add people to smart plans. I can come right here, add contact. Yeah, I could search for my open house tag. And I could, select all and add them to my smart plan, pretending that there was some there. Or when it comes to bulk smart plan, for example, when you send out my monthly newsletter, this is the quickest way to do it. Always show 500 contacts, select all, bulk action, add to smart plan right here. So again, we made sure to see the most number of contacts. I don't know why I think there's only 100 because we're playing with contacts between team and personal right this second. Select all, then the bulk down menu will appear. Add to smart plan. My open house part 1, select it and go ahead and launch it. As soon as I hit confirm, those 101 people would be added to those smart plans. Now on a plan like this, if you had 500 leads sitting in your database, all from open houses that you're not doing anything with, don't add them all at the same time to this smart plan, because on day 3, you're going to have 500 tasks to call 500 people. You'd come over here to stagger, and we'd maybe say, you know what, let me put 30 people a day, 35 people a day on this plan. So then when it gets to day 3, I'm only calling 35 tasks, and the next day there'll be another 35, and so on and so on. Okay. Any questions from you guys what we did today? Feel free to give some feedback on whether the pace of that demonstration in Smartplans was slow enough or not. We get the feedback a lot that, please move a little slower or go in a little more depth, which I completely understand. And so, again, hopefully that was a good overview for you guys to see that building smart plans isn't that complicated. It just takes a little bit of preparation, and all the preparation, guys, it's all done right here in the library. I want to learn more. I want to build an open house smart plan. Library smart plan, open house. There's 100 of them in here already for us to use. And I can come over here to view steps, and I can hover over, what they're saying, and it will give me ideas, and I can copy and paste that into my Google Drive right here. and then I can just start ordering them and ordering them. So if you see a in-person Smartplan workshop coming up in your office, I'll be making my rounds doing this class in person, but all the content's going to come from the audience. It's not going to come from me, and we're going to have poster boards, and we're going to write it on the poster boards, and we're going to move them all around and order them, and it's going to be a great workshop together. Okay, and so don't be intimidated by Smartplans. Think about what you could need a Smartplan for, and remember, if you're constantly sending out the same emails over and over again, create a one-step Smartplan and use it as a template. And every time you need to send that email out, just add that person to that Smartplan once. It will send that email, and that Smartplan will finish and be done with that contact. Okay. I'm gonna hang around for just a couple minutes. If you guys have any questions, we love answering questions. Just remember, you can access our recording and Facebook group. This recording will be up in a couple of hours, if not first thing in the morning, depending on how long it takes to upload. You got a Market Center Tech Trainer in all of your guys' offices. You can join the Facebook page and reach out to me that way. My email